In class, we're learning about disease prevention through vaccination. And this is the Smith family. We have Megan, Sean, and baby Tyler. For baby Tyler, I've created an immunization schedule, which is designed to protect infants and children early on in life when they are most vulnerable and before they are exposed to potentially life-threatening diseases. At birth, baby Tyler will have his first vaccination, which is the hepatitis B vaccination. The hepatitis B vaccine is used to prevent hepatitis B, a serious disease caused by a virus that attacks the liver, also known as HPV, and can cause a lifelong infection, liver cancer, liver failure, and death. HPV is spread by contact with blood or body fluids of an infected individual. The HPV vaccine has 3 doses. The first dose is at birth, the second dose is between 1 and 2 months, and the third dose is between 6 and 18 months. When Tyler is 2 months old, he'll have his next vaccination, which is the rotavirus vaccine. It's used to prevent rotavirus, which is a contagious virus that causes severe acute gastroenteritis, which is vomiting and severe diarrhea in children. Rotavirus spreads when infants or young children come in contact with an infected person's body fluids or feces. Most cases occur in children ages 3 to 35 months. This is intended for infants. There are 2 different rotavirus vaccines that are currently licensed in the U.S. Rotatec, also known as RV5, and Rotaterix, which is RV1. The Rotatec vaccination has 3 doses. The first dose is at 2 months, the second dose is at 4 months, and the third dose is at 6 months. And the Rotaterix vaccine has 2 doses. The first dose is at 2 months, and the second dose is at 4 months. The next vaccination that baby Tyler will have at 2 months is the DTaP, which is for diphtheria, tetanus, and acellular pertussis. The DTaP helps children younger than 7 develop immunity to 3 deadly diseases caused by bacteria. The first one is diphtheria, which is a respiratory disease that can cause breathing problems, heart failure, and death. The next one is tetanus, also known as lockjaw, a bacterium that releases a toxin that attacks the nervous system. And the third one is whooping cough. Pertussis causes severe coughing spasms that in infants makes it hard to eat, drink, and breathe. The vaccination, diphtheria and whooping cough are spread by coughing and sneezing, and tetanus is caused by a bacterium in the soil. There are 5 doses for the DTaP vaccination. The first dose is at 2 months, the second dose is at 4 months, the third dose is at 6 months, and the fourth dose is between 15 and 18 months, and the last dose is between 4 to 6 years old. The next vaccination that Tyler will have at 2 months is the HIV vaccination. It's used to treat Haemophilus influenzae type B, a bacterial illness that can lead to a potentially deadly brain infection in young children. It may cause diseases such as meningitis, bloodstream infections, pneumonia, and arthritis. It can be spread through contact with mucus or droplets from the nose and throat of an infected individual. The vaccination has 3 doses. The first one is at 2 months, the second dose is at 4 months, and the third dose is between 12 and 15 months. And the next vaccination that baby Tyler will have at 2 months is a pneumococcal conjugate vaccination, also known as PCV. The PCV vaccine helps prevent pneumococcal conjugate, which is caused by bacteria that can lead to ear infections and meningitis. The bacteria is spread from person to person by direct contact with respiratory secretions such as saliva or mucus. The vaccination has 4 doses. The first dose is at 2 months, the second dose is at 4 months, the third dose is at 6 months, and the fourth dose is between 12 and 15 months. The next vaccination that Tyler will have at 2 months is the inactivated poliovirus, IPV. It's a vaccination to help prevent polio. Polio is a disease caused by a virus that can cause paralysis and meningitis. It can possibly kill people who get it, usually by paralyzing the muscles that help them breathe. The virus usually enters the environment in the feces of someone who is infected. The IPV vaccination has 4 doses. First dose is at 2 months, the second dose is at 4 months, and the third dose is between 6 and 18 months, and the last dose is between 4 to 6 years. When Tyler reaches 12 months old, the next vaccination he'll have is measles, mumps, and rubella, that is also known as MMR. It helps the children prevent. It helps prevent children from measles, which is a virus that can lead to ear infection, pneumonia, seizures, brain damage, and death. It helps prevent from mumps, which is a virus that can lead to deafness, meningitis, the swelling of the testicles or ovaries, and against rubella, which is the virus that causes rash, arthritis, and can cause pregnant women to have miscarriages or have a child with birth defects. Measles is spread through coughing and sneezing, mumps is spread through saliva, and rubella is transmitted by droplets of the throat and nose. The vaccination has 2 doses. The first dose is between 12 and 15 months, and the second dose is between 4 to 6 years. The next vaccination that Tyler will have at a year is varicella, VAR. It's used to help prevent against chickenpox. Chickenpox is a contagious illness from a virus that causes an itchy rash and red spots all over the body. Someone can get chickenpox from an infected individual who sneezes, coughs, or shares food or drinks, or is touching the fluid from the blisters. The vaccination has 2 doses. The first dose is between 12 and 15 months, and the second dose is between 4 and 6 years. The next vaccination that Tyler will have is the hepatitis A vaccination. It's used to prevent hepatitis A, which is a liver disease caused by hepatitis A virus. You can contract the virus from contaminated food or water, or from one in close contact with someone who is infected. The vaccination has 2 doses. The first dose is between 12 and 23 months, and the second dose, you have to wait 6 to 18 months after the first dose to receive the second dose. At 11 years old, Tyler will have his next vaccination, which is the Tdap vaccination. The Tdap vaccination is similar to the DTaP because it helps prevent against tetanus, diphtheria, and acellular pertussis. It's a booster immunization given at 11 or 12 that offers continued protection from those diseases for adolescents and adults. At the next vaccination that Tyler will have at 11 is the human papillomavirus. For men, it's HPV-4. It helps against the human papillomavirus, which is the most common sexually transmitted infection. Most people who have been infected with HPV do not know they have it. These HPV types can also infect the mouth and the throat. All of these viruses can be passed on during sex. HPV-4 is a vaccine given in a series of 3 shots over 6 months, and the only vaccine that is available for men is Gardasil. In the next vaccination that Tyler will have at 11 years old is the meningococcal vaccination. It helps protect against most types of meningococcal diseases, and they can refer to any illness that is caused by the type of bacteria Neisseria meningitis. These illnesses are often severe and include infections of the lining of the brain and spinal cord and bloodstream infections. They spread through the exchange of respiratory and throat secretions. And the vaccination is a single dose of Menectra or Menovio vaccine at 11 or 12 years old, and you also need a booster dose at 16 years old. The annual vaccination is the influenza, which is the flu vaccine. Influenza is contagious respiratory illness caused by influenza virus. It can cause mild to severe illness. Serious outcome of flu infection can result in hospitalization or death. Starting at 6 months old, Tyler will need to have this annually.